How do you know that your work is good enough and that you are allowed to stop pursuing that research path and finally start wrapping it up into a paper, into a thesis, into a conference talk, or whatever it is that you are working on currently? So this is an excellent question that I got from a client last week, and I wanted to address it because I feel that during your PhD, it is very hard to have that sense of what's enough. And I feel not only during the PhD, I think that many scientists, many senior scientists still struggle with that concept of enough, because in research, there is never something that you can consider done. You can always investigate more, you can always find out more about the mechanism, about the topic, about something that you're researching. So it is very hard to establish this sort of sense of what's done, what feels done, and what's enough to make sure that you have a cohesive and coherent research story that you can then publish. So that client was complaining that she was feeling that she was always chasing something, but the finish line, she told me that the finish line was constantly moving. And I felt that really deeply because it was also my experience during my PhD, in which you are like, okay, when I get this result, then I'm going to start writing. And then you sort of get some results that are not the exact same thing that you hoped for. So you give yourself more time, you investigate more, and that also spans the delays this gratification of having something written, having something already there present to physically, like a physical manifestation of your effort and your work. So having said that, since we know that research has this, it's the nature of research, right, to investigate and to always ask why something happens the way it happens. So how do we sort of match that to the objective reality of time deadlines, of thesis deadlines, of paper deadlines, and of this, time-space reality in which we are living, given that we have a certain time given in order to complete our thesis, to complete our research, we have certain funding, so we always have to take that into account. So how can we source that sense of completeness? I was discussing that with my client, and their answer that we found together was that you have to make sure that you sort of structure your research in a ways that provides you some sort of very, very structured and very concrete and tangible tasks that you can do each day. Because of that nature of research, that it never feels done, it never feels complete, it's very easy to fall into the trap that your to-do list never feels done, your work never feels done. But your work and research per se are two different things. So the moment you become aware of that thing, that those two are two different things, you can sort of start acting accordingly and make sure that all of those messy data, all of those results that are everywhere in your computer, in your notes, in the collaborator's drive or wherever they live, you can sort of put them together into something that makes sense. So for example, how would the to-do list of a person who is aware that research and your work are not the same thing? For example, instead of writing research this or read about that, you would say read this paper that discusses that specific topic, or maybe write this chapter, this section of this chapter of the thesis. Prepare slide from 1 to 5, the intro slides for the conference talk. So this is much more tangible, and it allows you to detach that sense of research that is never complete with your sense of completing the action and making sure that you have something tangible to demonstrate that you were actually working that day. So if you are a PhD student, if you are now in maybe the last stages of your PhD, trying to wrap up that thesis, but experiments are piling up, you have data that is a mess, you are not sure how all of those results are going to connect in something cohesive, coherent, that you can write, finish, submit, and then defend, I want to invite you to join a completely free intro coaching call with me. You can schedule it on the link down below. I will put it in the description, where we can discuss your specific challenges, your specific struggles, and how the exact next steps that you can take in order to make your research makes sense both to you and your supervisor without burning out in the attempt. So thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video. Bye bye.